Welcome to the Technology Inspiration Playlist. These short segments were originally presented live by the RECIT for vocational training during the Voc Talk Café, an informal weekly online professional development gathering for VT educators in Quebec. Each video explores a pedagogical strategy enhanced by a digital tool, offering practical ideas that can be applied across various programs. In just a few minutes, these insights aim to inspire creativity and support innovative teaching practices.
I realize that many of us have good reasons not to use generative artificial intelligence, Gen AI, as we now say. It's intimidating to get started. We're getting often results that are too large or too complex for what we really needed, and we don't really have time to dig into it and practice. So I had the idea to start a mini series of technology inspiration called One AI Bite at a Time, and start small, keep the control over the task, and use AI at stuff it's good at, like proofreading a document or, for example, brainstorming about a topic. And that's what I want to talk about today, because I often brainstorm with AI. Sometimes big brainstorming processes, like we'll build the outline and learning material for competency 9 could be the first prompt, or sometimes it's much smaller. Well, I'll ask it to complete this list of common mistakes, for example, and it will add examples to my list from which I want to pick and decide which one I want to use. But in all cases, I always have to provide lots of context, lots of details, intentions, tone, and stuff. Would be nice to not always have to repeat that. And actually, we can. We just have to rename our chats. I'll show you guys in ChatGPT how it's done. You've noticed probably if you use ChatGPT that all your conversations with it have been given a title. Well, the little ellipses menu, the 3 dots, allows you to rename that chat, and then you can call it, you can give it your own meaningful name, like content for competency 9, for example. And from there, you can go back to the same conversation you already had with the generative artificial intelligence. And then you don't have to refeed all that information that you've already given. So you start a conversation because you want a set induction for your lesson in competency 9, and then the AI replies to you with suggestions, activities, for so on and so forth. But when you're done, right away you can rename that competency 9 content, and whenever you have a question, a conversation you want to explore about how you are going to build your materials, you can go back directly to there. When you want to ask to build the timeline for your competency plan, ask for different set inductions for different lessons, create a formative evaluation activity, etc., etc. So you get the idea is that instead of scrolling to your previous conversations, you can take the time to rename them and organize that content. If you want to do that, make a habit of renaming the chats immediately after creating them, because the AI generated titles are usually not very clear. Be descriptive with your titles. There is a search tool at the top of the window that you can use, but it's a good habit to develop. I don't want to talk about generative, any AI, but especially the generative one, without mentioning a few obligations that we have as far as responsible usage. Always protect the confidentiality and the data. Expect bias, inaccurate content, even hallucinations, because that generative capacity can create stuff that doesn't exist. Remember the private ownership of the companies that do this. They're not in it for the good of humanity. Remember the limits. Generative AI is not intelligent. It's just a predictive language model that tries to build plausible patterns. And of course, and most importantly, pay attention to your school board's artificial intelligence policy, restrictions, licenses, etc., because you're bound to comply to that.